Sekunjalo. Sanibonani, Tumelang, Absheni, Henda, Molweni, Lotshani. Ngiyateba sonke sikahle la sikhona khona. Ngiyathemba inkosi isasifukamele sonke. Nami hayi sangifukamele bafowethu. Ngisavikelekile. Sekuyisikhashana nje ngingarekhodi. Bengisase busy nokunye. Impilo. Sometimes ikuyisa le, sometimes ikuyisa le. Bathi impilo ukuncenga kumele siyincenge nje siloko siyincenga singabi nayo. Namhlanje ngifuna ukukhuluma the twisted verses. I want to talk about the Bible verses that are twisted and used against what actually Yahweh is saying. You know, I will talk about the common thing, the common thing that is always being attacked using the Bible verses out of context. People are saying, if you believe in Jesus, you don't have to keep the Sabbath because he is the Sabbath himself. Which Bible verse did Yahushua say, I am the Sabbath? I don't remember seeing such a verse in the Bible. So if you know of such a verse, please help us. Where Yahushua is claiming to be the Sabbath himself. I don't remember that. Instead, Yahushua says he is the Lord of the Sabbath. And still, people are trying to twist that. Remember, he said, I am the Lord of the Sabbath. So it means the Sabbath is not important. No. How can you be the Lord of something that is not important to you? How can you be the boss of a company that you do not believe in? It's impossible. So people are twisting the Bible verses and use them out of context. In Matthew 12, verse 8, he said, I am the Lord of the Sabbath. This verse asserts the authority. It asserts his authority over the Sabbath. So, and he claimed, he said this when he was having a dispute with the Pharisees regarding how they were observing the Sabbath. So every time Yahushua was debating about the Sabbath, he was correcting the way people, mainly the Pharisees, were observing the Sabbath. He had a problem with the observance of the Sabbath, the way they were observing it, not the Sabbath itself. He can't have a problem with something that his father have put in place with him, because I believe whatever the Father did, he was there. And most of the things, he's the one who was actually doing it, being sent by the Father. So when you say, because he said he's the Lord of the Sabbath doesn't matter, that is a true lie. It's a lie what you are teaching people. That's a false teaching, actually. In John 5, verse 17, after healing on Sabbath, he says, my Father is working until now, and I myself am working. This links his work with what? With Yahweh's work, which further explains his divine authority about, again, does not claim to be the Sabbath. It claims his divine authority over the Sabbath, but he does not claim to be the Sabbath himself, or to be the Sabbath itself. So there's a lot of biblical malpractice going on in the churches. Pastors are trading clear, catchy slogans, and people always walk away confused, feeling guilt of keeping Yahweh's rules and laws. At the end of the day, you hear people say, but the Bible contradicts itself. It doesn't contradict itself. The people are contradicting the Bible, not the Bible contradicting itself. The Bible is standing straight. All those verses they're using to attack the Sabbath, if you read them in context, you will find that they are protecting the Sabbath, they're promoting the continuation of the Sabbath, or they are talking about something else. So people are changing what the verses are saying and pointing them to where they want them to point. They want to point them. You know, even even Yahushua himself kept the Sabbath. He kept the Sabbath. He never stopped. Why? Because even his father Yahweh, if you read Isaiah 58, verse 13 to 14, it tells us how Yahweh said the Sabbath will be there even in the new earth to come. If you read from verse 18, if you keep the Sabbath with care, not doing your business on my holy day, and if the Sabbath seems to you a delight, and the new moon of the Lord a thing of honored, and if you give respect to him by not doing your business or going after your pleasure or saying unholy words, then the Lord will be your delight, and I will put you on the high places of the earth, and I will give you the heritage of Jacob, your father, to the mouth of the Lord, he said. That is in Isaiah 58, verse 18. And if you check Isaiah 66, verse 22 to 23, he is talking about the people will keep the Sabbath, will be worshipping Sabbath to Sabbath in the new earth to come. In the new earth to come. And they will be worshipping forever. So, are you saying Yahweh is lying when you say after the arrival of, after the departure of Yahushua, Sabbath was done away with? Are you saying Yahweh is lying when he said it will be, even in the new earth is going to create, it will be forever? Isaiah 58, verse 13, Yahweh calls his holy day the Sabbath. He says it is his holy day and put a specific commandment on it. But he never said, I am the Sabbath. Or Yahushua never said, I am the Sabbath. Many pastors are teaching tradition dressed up as revelation. And we have to be very careful about that. They are teaching tradition dressed up as revelation. And I want to touch on few verses that are mainly used by these pastors. Colossians 2, verse 16 to 17. Let no one judge you regarding a festival, new moon, or Sabbath days, which are shadow of things to come. You know, they twisted this verse. How do they twist it? The Sabbath was just a shadow. Jesus is the reality. So the Sabbath is gone. That's how they're twisting it. It's not written like that. Where is it written like that? Where is it written like that? What this really means, Paul is telling believers not to let pagans and false teachers judge them according to the Sabbath that they are keeping. He is giving them strength. He's telling them to be strong. He is not saying Sabbath is abolished, or he's not saying I'm abolishing the Sabbath. Instead, he is defending their right to observe the Sabbath. And the word shadow, you know, I hear a lot of people, they laugh saying, this was the shadow. is no more existing. This was the shadow. Let's talk about the shadow. When you are coming, we might see your shadow before we see you. Depends on the angle that you're coming from. But does the shadow disappear when you arrived? It doesn't. The shadow of an object will never disappear because the object is now present. Instead, as long as the object is available or is present, the shadow will be present. There is no shadow that disappears when the object arrives. So now why, if this was the shadow of things to come, why when those things come, then the shadow disappears? Instead, when they use this word, the shadow, they are trying to point things to Yahushua. They're telling us how strong, how divine these things are. They are as strong as Yahushua, as divine as Yahushua. And you guys, you're coming now, repeating what the pastors are preaching to you in churches. These were the shadows of things to come. Therefore, they are no longer existing. Why? Because now Yahushua is here. Then the shadow is gone. No. There is no way where Yahushua claimed to be the Sabbath himself. So do not lie to people and say, as long as you believe in Yahushua, you are keeping the Sabbath. That's a lie. And Yahushua himself, he was keeping the Sabbath. Yahushua himself, he was keeping the Sabbath. So I wonder what are you trying to say when you say he was against the Sabbath or he did away with the Sabbath? Let's read Hebrews 4, verse 9. It says, so that there is still a Sabbath, keeping for the people of God, for the man who comes into his rest has had rest from his works, as God did from his. Because this, let us have a strong desire to come into that rest, and let no one go after the example of those who went against God's orders. This is the other verse that they are using. That's the other verse that they are using. I really don't know where these people are getting all these ideas, whether it is by mistake or it's not, but I really think it's not by mistake. Maybe the people who are following, they are the people who are blind. And those are the people who are defending this without knowing exactly what it means. Now, how do they twist this? They say we enter that rest in Jesus. So we don't need a literal Sabbath day. That's what they say. We don't need a literal Sabbath day. What it really means, the Greek word for rest in verse 9 is sabbatismos. Sabbatismos, which literally means a keeping of Sabbath. It does not say Jesus is our rest. No, it doesn't say that. It does not say Jesus is our rest. It says a Sabbath keeping still remains. Verse 10 refers to ceasing from your own works, which is exactly what you do on the seventh day. Exodus 2 verse 10. This passage confirms the Sabbath. The Sabbath. It does not cancel it. Every verse used to attack the Sabbath, if read in context, it will defend or promote the continuation of the Sabbath, or it is talking about something different. This verse here, the one that I just read to you in Hebrew, the Hebrews 4, verse 9 to 12, it does not say Jesus is now our Sabbath. No. Instead, it says the Sabbath continues. So where they're getting this idea of now the Sabbath is what called? I don't know. Nowhere does it say they stopped or stop keeping the Sabbath. There's no way it says that. No way. Then you go to Romans 14, verse 5. One person esteems one day above other. Be fully convinced in his own mind. I want us to go through all these verses so that we, by the time this video ends, understand and have touched all the verses that you guys are using to attack the Sabbath. Romans 14, verse 9. One person esteems one day above another. Another esteems every day alike. Let each other be fully convinced in his own mind. How they twist it? They say, you see, all days are equal. That's what they say. They say all days are equal. You can pick any day as Sabbath. Hello? This verse, Romans 14, verse 9. Remember I said it's either, if you read these verses in context, it's either it is protecting the Sabbath or it is promoting the continuation of the Sabbath, or it is talking about something else. This verse is talking about something else. It's not talking about the 70th day. It's not talking about the 70th day. This verse is talking about individual or what is it? It is talking about voluntary fasting. They say it shows you that you can pick any day as your Sabbath. No, it is talking about voluntary fasting. Voluntary fasting days and personal opinions. That's what it is talking about here. Verse 6 talks about eating. It never mentions the fourth commandment. Paul is addressing disputable matters, not Yahweh's moral law. Do you think he will call the laws that were given in Mount Sinai as personal opinion? Do you think Paul was that stupid to say, no, the law that was given by Yahweh on the mountain, it's a personal opinion? No. This verse here, Romans 14, verse 5, is talking about voluntary fasting days. It's not talking about the Sabbath. So if anyone come to you and is talking to you about the Sabbath and they start referring you to Romans 14, verse 5, tell him to hold it right there. Hold it right there. You are out of context. It has nothing to do with the Sabbath. The other verse that they need is Acts 20, verse 7. It says, on the first day of the week, the disciples came together to break bread. They love this verse. They love this verse. This is the verse now they are using to change from Sabbath to Sunday. How they twist it? They say, you see, Paul changed Sabbath. He ceased from keeping the Sabbath to Sunday. So he switched Sabbath with Sunday because Yahushua woke up on Sunday. That's what they're promoting. But what it really means, this was a late farewell, guys. It was a late farewell where Paul was meeting his people. They talked until midnight. Verse 7 to 8, because Paul was leaving the next day, it was not a worshiping meeting. It was not a worshiping service, as pastors teach in the churches. It was a meal which they held as Lord's Supper. And I always ask people, what time do you eat supper? Do you eat supper in the morning? Because now, if Paul was meeting to break the bread for Lord's Supper and to remember the Lord's Supper, what time was it? Was it in the morning? Because you're using that to promote your meeting on Sunday morning, which is not true. Where they were, the room that they were in, there were a lot of lights. Do you put lights on during the day? Your curtains should be very thick and closed to put the lights on during the day. Paul spoke until midnight. They were meeting to break the bread. For what? For Lord's Supper, to remember their last supper with Yahushua. With Yahushua. Now, you coming and say, Paul was meeting on the first day. That's why, therefore, there is no longer Sabbath. We are now keeping the first day. No. First, you must go read, is it Daniel 7 verse 25, somewhere there? The enemy is going to change what? The times and the laws and the days. If you change the time, then the days are changed. So, every time they talk, they will talk about early hours of the first day. Most of you will refer the early hours as in the morning. But now, go back to Genesis and check what Yahweh is saying. Yahweh says evening and morning is equal to 1 day. That means the day starts in the evening. When the sun goes down, the day is starting. If the sun goes down, the sunset is 6:30. Then the early hours is around 7, 8, 9. Those are the early hours of the first day. Evening. Not all the way 12 hours to what called 6, 7 in the morning. Now, that's no longer in the, what called the early hours of the first day. It's no longer that. So the enemy changed the times so that he can confuse you guys. From the day starting on sunset, he taught you the day starts midnight after 12. So when they talk about early hours, your mind automatically goes to the morning, which is wrong. So these verses are twisted and confuse people. They are twisted to confuse people. That's what they are used for. Let's check Luke 4 verse 6. What does it say? Luke 4 verse 6 says, and he came to Nazareth, where he had been as a child, and he went as his way was, or as per his custom. Other Bibles will say that. Into the synagogue on the Sabbath, and got up to give a teaching, to give a reading. So, this is Yahushua we're talking about. As per his custom, as per his way was. And the book of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. And opening the book, he come on the place where it is said, the Spirit of the Lord is on me, because I am marked out by him to give good news to the poor. He has sent me to make well those who are broken hearted, to say that the prisoners will be let go, and the blind will see. So he was teaching on a Sabbath. He was keeping the Sabbath. The rest of his life, he was keeping Sabbath. He never said, people must stop keeping Sabbath because I'm here. I am the Sabbath myself. No, he never said that. Read Mark 1, verse 21 to 22. And they came to Capernaum, and on the Sabbath he went into the synagogue and gave the teaching. When was that? When he went into the synagogue. On the Sabbath, he went into the synagogue and gave teaching. And they were full of wonder and his teaching, because he gave it as one having authority and not like a scribe, or not like the scribes. So his teaching like the one with the authority. Because already obvious he was having the authority. And he was keeping the Sabbath. Most of all his teaching, he was teaching on the Sabbath. There's a lot of verses we can go through that will prove you that he was teaching on the Sabbath and he was keeping the Sabbath. And when the Sabbath day, this is Mark 6, verse 2. Let's read Mark 6, verse 2 to 3. And when the Sabbath day had come, he was teaching in the synagogue, and a number of people hearing him were surprised, saying, from where did this man get these things? And what is the wisdom given to this man? And that are these works. And what are these works of power done by his hands? Let's repeat it. Number 2, the verse 6, chapter 6, Mark 6, verse 2. And when the Sabbath day had come, he was teaching in the synagogue, and a number of people hearing him were surprised, saying, from where did this man get these things? And what is the wisdom given to this man? And what are these works of power done by his hands? It was on a Sabbath when he was doing that. We can go on and on. Read Luke 13, verse 10 to 11. And he was teaching in one of the synagogue on the Sabbath, not on Sunday, on the Sabbath. And there was a woman who had had a disease for 18 years. She was bent and was not able to make herself straight. On the Sabbath, Yahushua was keeping the Sabbath the rest of his life. He was keeping the Sabbath until the day he died. He rested on the Sabbath, and he woke up after the Sabbath. He could have woke up the same day if he wanted to. Everything was in his control, remember? If you read John 18, verse 19 says, then the high priest put questions to Jesus about his disciples and his teaching. Jesus made answer. I said things openly to the world. At all times I have given my teaching in the synagogues and in the temple, to which all the Jews come, and I have said nothing secretly. Why are you questioning me? Put questions to my hearers about what I have said to them. They have knowledge of what I said. Now, do you have knowledge of what you are saying when you say Jesus finished the Sabbath? Because as far as I can remember, he said, I did not come to abolish the law. And Sabbath is the law. When people talk about the law is no longer, they're not worried about all laws. They're worried about one. They're worried about the Sabbath. All weapons are facing the Sabbath. Why? Because it is the sign of Yahweh. It is a sign between Yahweh and his people. That's why it is so attacked so much. Yahushua never finished the Sabbath. When they talk about these things were the shadow of things to come or the shadow of Yahushua, it does not mean they abolished. The shadow does not disappear when the object arrives. It does not. If your shadow does not leave you, how does this shadow leave the owner? How does Yahushua's shadow leave him? Let's read Exodus 20. Keep in memory, Exodus 20, verse 8 to 11. I don't know if I must read all of it for you, but Exodus 20, verse 8, it says, keep in memory the Sabbath and let it be a holy day. On 6 days, do all your work. But the seventh day is Sabbath to the Lord your God. That's why you are taking it so much. It is the Sabbath to the Lord. It is a Sabbath to Yahweh. It is his day. So everything they're coming and trying change, they don't have proof to it. There's nowhere where it is written straight that it is 1, 2, 3. They say we must now keep the first day as a holy day because Yahushua woke up on the first day. Hello? The women, after Yahushua woke up, or the women after Yahushua died, after when he was still dead, they kept the Sabbath. Those women kept the Sabbath. They did not say because Yahushua is dead now, the Sabbath is gone. Paul was keeping Sabbath. He never said because Yahushua died and woke up, the Sabbath is no longer there. He was keeping the Sabbath. Now, after so many generations down the line, now you're coming up and give us the confusing reasoning of because Yahushua died, then the Sabbath is no longer there. No. This thing of Sunday, the first day you are keeping, is not in the Bible, guys. It's not in the Bible. Luke 23. If you check it on verse 56. And they went back and got ready spices and perfumes. And on the Sabbath, they took their rest in agreement with the law. Which law? Because Yahushua was dead. They were supposed to do anyhow. They were supposed to just do as they wish. But they kept the law. They never went there to the tomb and carry on doing what they wanted to do. They kept the law. Which law? The Sabbath. And where was Yahushua? He was dead. He was dead. He was not there. Let's read Matthew 19, verse 18. Yeah, from verse 18. He says to him, which, you know, why I'm reading, why I'm referring you to this verse now, Matthew 19. They say, Yahushua, when he gave the commandments, he never mentioned the Sabbath. So we're keeping those commandments he gave. Yahushua mentioned the second group of the commandment that were necessary for the debate that he was having with this young man. He never went through all the commandments. Yahushua. He never went through all the commandments. He says to him, which, and Jesus said, do not put anyone to death. Do not be untrue in married life. Do not take what is not yours. Do not give false witness. Give honor to your father and your mother, and have love for your neighbor. He was giving him what was necessary, what he wanted to hear regarding what this young man was saying. He never said these were only the commandments that were supposed to be kept. No, he never said that. So where are you getting this mentality of what Yahushua said? It was all the commandments that we're supposed to keep. Who is telling you that? I don't know. Where you getting that? I don't know. Because people are twisting verses. You twisting verses, guys. You are twisting verses. I'm just trying to think here which other verse that they love, that you guys love to twist and use it against the Sabbath. You know, if you are going to argue about what Yahushua said to the boy, then let's talk about what he missed out. Did he say coveting the wife is wrong? Actually, in Matthew 19, verse 18 to 19, he says, do not murder, right? Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Honor your father and mother, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Did he say you shall not covet? He did not. So are you saying coveting is okay? Which is the 10th commandment? Exodus 17. Did he say it's okay? You shall not make idols. The 2nd commandment. Did he say it? He did not. Is it okay to make the idols? No. You shall not take Yahweh's name in vain. The 3rd commandment. And the Sabbath. Out of all these commandments that he left, you picked up one. The Sabbath. That's what you are interested in. Why attacking the Sabbath? Why only the Sabbath? The people who are attacking the Sabbath is because they're trying to win everyone to their side. Everything they're teaching you is not in the Bible. Keeping of the first day holy is not in the Bible. And when Yahushua was talking to the boy, giving commandments, he was talking about the commandments that were necessary for the boy to hear. He was actually addressing his greediness because the boy was claiming to have done it all. So when eventually proved to him who his God was, the riches, he walked away. He walked away. So there was no need to give the boy all the 10 commandments. No. And it does not mean because he left that out, it is not existing anymore. So, guys, these are just a few of the verses that I could think of. I know there's quite a lot that the people are twisting, and at the end of the day, they say they say the Bible is contradicting itself. It is not contradicting itself. It is not. So, coveting your neighbor's wife is not fine at all, simply because Yahushua didn't mention it. It is still standing. Idolatry is it now fine? It's not fine, simply because it was left out. Blasphemy was left out by Yahushua. It is not okay, simply because it was not said by Yahushua in the New Testament. Now, why is the Sabbath the only one you guys are singling? You singing it out, the Sabbath. So, guys, all these verses that you are using to attack the Sabbath are wrong. You are using them out of context. You must know that. So when Paul was talking to the people and he said, they shall not judge them according to the Sabbaths or what and all those things, he was not ruling out the Sabbath. He was not doing away with the Sabbath. He was actually giving them strength to say, do not let these non-believers and false teachers weaken you because of judging you and all those things like that. So for today, I think I would stop here. These are the twisted Bible verses that we were talking about today. Maybe in future, we will re-look at them and have the second group. That is, if it is necessary, or we will come up with something different. This is a Wonder Holy Debate channel, the channel that talks about anything that is holy, anything that is in the Bible, anything that is that the people are not comfortable to talk about. We talk about them here. Thank you very much. May you please like my channel and follow. You lose nothing. It's just for us to see that you are there. You supporting us. Thank you very much, and may Yahweh bless you. Thank you.